The first specimen that we would be tackling about is the human squamous. Squamous cells are thin, flat cells that look like fish scales, as you can see here in the photomicrograph. If you're wondering where can this be found, it is located in the tissue that forms the surface of the skin, the lining of the hollow organs of the body, and the lining of the respiratory and digestive tract. Also, the human squamous is an epithelial type of cell. Next, we have the cuboidal epithelium. This specimen consists of one layer of cells whose height roughly equals their width. So, in sections perpendicular to the surface, cells resemble a small box-like cubes. They are found in the glandular tissue and in the kidney tubules. Cuboidal epithelium is also an example of an epithelial tissue. Next is the frog intestine. As shown in the photomicrograph, frog intestines are thin and thread-like with a spiral shape like a curly cube. This is also an example of an epithelial tissue. Next, we have the frog skin. The frog skin is composed of an epidermal and dermal layer containing resident immune cells throughout their layers. The epidermis is comprised of stratified squamous epithelial cells. Also, this is an example of an epithelial type of tissue. Next, we have the human urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is composed of dome-shaped umbrella cells whose shape becomes flat in a distended bladder. A filled bladder has an epithelium characterized by large squamous superficial cells overlying several layers of cuboidal cells. Therefore, we can say that the urinary bladder is also an epithelial type of tissue. Next, we have the trachea. The trachea is aligned with a layer of interspersed layers of column-shaped cells with cilia. The epithelium contains goblet cells, which are glandular column-shaped cells that produce mucins, the main concept of mucus. The trachea is also a connective type of tissue. Next one is the areolar tissue. Areolar connective tissue is a type of dense, irregular, connective tissue found in the human body. It consists mainly of a network of fibers and cells which are held together by a gel-like matrix. Like the trachea, the areolar tissue is also a connective type of tissue. Next, we have the smooth muscle. The smooth muscle consists of narrow spindle-shaped cells with a single centrally located nucleus. Also, this is a muscle that shows no cross stripes under microscopic magnification. This is an example of a muscle-type tissue. Next is the adipose tissue. Adipose tissue or fatty tissue consists mainly of fat cells. This is specialized to synthesize and contain large globules of fat within a structural network of fibers. As it enlarges, it pushes all the cytoplasm together with the nucleus and all the organelles to the edge of the cell, making it look like a band or ring under the microscope. The adipose tissue is a connective type of tissue.
The next tissue image is from the blood smear, and it is a connective tissue. Blood is actually considered a special form of connective tissue since it does not bind or connect with any body cells. Instead, it just helps with transportation, regulation, and protection. Next, we have the supporting connective tissues, which basically help with providing structure to soft tissues. Here we have the supporting connective tissue found in the hyaline cartilage of the human trachea. It keeps the trachea from falling and collapsing. The nucleus and chondrocytes, or the cartilage cells, are found inside the lacunae. Then we have the supporting connective tissue found in the elastic cartilage of the ear. This is the most flexible cartilage out of the three, and as we can see, the elastic cartilage is more compact compared to the hyaline cartilage. The last type of supporting connective tissue is found in the fibrocartilage. They contain many collagen fibers. Next is the connective tissue found in the bone. The bone can be compact or spongy. Here we can see the central canal and the lacunae, which contains the osteocytes. Then we have the three muscle tissues. First is the muscle tissue found in the skeletal muscle. We can see that it is multinucleated, and we can see that the muscle tissue itself looks stretched or long. Then we have the muscle tissue of cardiac muscles. The stripes are much more visible here compared to the skeletal muscle. Then we have the muscle tissues and the smooth muscles. We can see that they are significantly smoother compared to the two other muscle tissues. The last tissue image is the nervous tissue found in a Gauss nerve smear. These nervous tissues are for transmitting and receiving information. The axons are the longer strands, while the dendrites are the shorter ones. Next, we have the frog skin. The epidermis is the outermost layer, while the dermis is below the epidermis. The dermis is divided into two compartments, namely the spongy dermis and the compact dermis. In between is the mucous gland, which secretes hydrophilic mucus to keep their skin moist. We have the frog intestine. The outermost layer is called the serosa, followed by the muscularis. The inner lining is the mucosa. Then we have the blood vessels. First, we have the artery, which is circular in shape since it has more elastic tissues. The innermost part is the lumen, followed by the tunica intima, tunica media, and finally tunica externa. The vein, on the other hand, has a more complex shape, and the vein's lumen is bigger compared to the artery's lumen. And we have the frog's spinal cord, and the small space in the center is called the central canal. The light blue area is called the gray matter, and the violet area lining the gray matter is called the white matter.
Hi, I'm Elena Jen L. Garcia, and I'm going to discuss the guided questions from activity number 5. So for the first question, what are the functions of epithelium? If you don't know, epithelium is a type of body tissue that forms the covering on all internal and external surfaces of your body. It lines body cavities and hollow organs and is the major tissue in glands. Because epithelial tissues are found all over the body, they serve several purposes. It protects all body surfaces, excretes waste items in and out of the kidneys, and serves as a sensory organ in our body. And for the next question, what are the different functions that connective tissue performs? Connective tissues are primarily responsible for binding and supporting tissues and organs. This tissue also assists our bodies and organs to maintain their shape while providing strength and flexibility. And for number 3 is complete the table, which has skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. So for the first table, for the skeletal muscle, the skeletal muscles have a cylindrical shape of the fiber, and it is multinucleated, and the location of the nucleus is located near the plasma membrane. But striations are present in the skeletal muscles, while the intercalated disc isn't present in the skeletal muscle. Next is the cardiac muscle. It has a rectangular shape of the fiber, it only has one nucleus, and it is located at the wall of the heart. And striations and intercalated discs are both present in cardiac muscle. And lastly, for smooth muscle, the shape of the fiber is spindle-shaped, and it only has one nucleus also, and it is located at the walls of the major organs. But striations and intercalated disc isn't present for smooth muscles. And for the last question is compare the arteries and veins based on their histologic characteristics. So first, for the arteries, blood is taken away from the heart and has thick elastic and muscular walls. While veins, blood is brought towards the heart and it has a slimmer wall compared to the artery. And that's all. Thank you.